gonna discuss about diagnostic studies of benign prostatic hyperplasia. In previous video, I was told what is BPH, pathophysiology, clinical feature and complications of benign prostatic hyperplasia. So, let's start the diagnostic studies of benign prostatic hyperplasia. That's mean how to confirm benign prostatic hyperplasia occur, and we will start the treatment. Primary method used to diagnose BPH including history taking and physical examination. In history taking, the health history focus on urinary tract, previous surgical procedure, general health issue and family history of prostate disease and fitness. And most important, patient voiding diary maintained. A patient voiding diary used to record voiding frequency and urine volume. Next, physical examination. Prostate can be palpated by digital rectal examination to estimate the prostate size, symmetry and consistency. In benign prostatic hyperplasia, the prostate is symmetrical, enlarged, firm and smooth. So, in BPH, what we will see in digital rectal examination? The prostate is symmetrical, enlarged, firm and smooth. Additional diagnostic test may be indicated depending on types and severity of symptoms and clinical feature. So the tests are urinalysis with culture. Urinalysis with culture is a routinely done to identify any infection. Bacteria with blood cells or macrophages, hematuria indicate infection or inflammation. So urinalysis with culture can be done for identify any infection. If any bacteria with blood cell or microscopic hematuria, it can indicate the infection or inflammation. Next, prostate specific antigen blood test. Prostate specific antigen blood test may be done to rule out prostate cancer. However, PSA level may be slightly elevated in patient with BPH. So, in this test, PSA level is not in normal level. Next, serum creatinine level may be ordered to rule out renal insufficiency. Because symptoms of BPH are similar to those of neurogenic bladder, a neurological examination may also be performed. Okay, next, transrectal ultrasound. Transrectal ultrasound is typically indicated. These examinations allow for accurate of prostate size and it's helpful to identify BPH form of prostate cancer. Next, biopsy. Biopsy is also most important test for identify the BPH. It can taken during the ultrasound procedure. I think all are know about biopsy. Many disease procedure to identify biopsy can be taken. Okay, I think all are understood. Next, uroflowmetry. Uroflowmetry, a study that measures the urine volume expelled from bladder per second. It is helpful in determining the exact urethral blockage and thus the type of treatment indicated. Other test are post-void residual volume is also determine the degree of urine flow obstruction. Okay. Next, cystoscopy. It is the most important test for diagnosis the BPH. Cystoscopy is a procedure for allowing the internal visualization of urethra and bladder. It's performed if the diagnosis is uncertain and in patients should be for prostatectomy. The diagnostic studies for benign prostatic hyperplasia. For determining the benign prostatic hyperplasia, and patient also can start the early treatment. Now let's start the discussion about management of benign prostatic hyperplasia. At first we discuss the medical management. The goal of medical management of benign prostatic hyperplasia are improve the quality of life. That's mean walking, eating and sleeping are done by timely. Next, improve the urine flow. If the urine flow is not normal, then drinking the amount of water. Then relieve obstruction. If there is any obstruction in prostate, it's relieve the obstruction and prevent disease progression and minimizing the complication. Treatment depends on the severity of symptoms. That means symptoms are acute or chronic. Next, cause of the disease. If the disease caused by acute, then the treatment different from chronic cause of disease. Next, severity of obstruction. Treatments depends upon what type of obstruction occur, it partly or full. Next, patient condition. Treatment depends upon the patient condition. Next, I gonna discuss about pharmacological therapy. Drugs that have been used to treat BPH with variable degree of disease, including 5-alpha reductase inhibitor and alpha adrenergic blocker. Combination therapy using both type of drug show to be more effective in reducing symptoms than using on drug alone. Now I discuss how 5-alpha reductase inhibitor reducing the benign prostatic hyperplasia. 5-alpha reductase inhibitor drug work by reducing the size of prostate gland. Finasteride is a drug of 5-alpha reductase inhibitor. It blocks the enzyme 5-alpha reductase, which is necessary for convert testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. And this dihydrotestosterone is a critical mediator of prostatic gland. If this conversion is not occurred, then dihydrotestosterone production is reduced. So, prostate are not being enlarged. Another 5-alpha reductase inhibitor drug is dutasteride. Dutasteride has same effect on prostatic tissue as a finasteride and is a dual inhibitor of 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, type 1 and type 2 isoenzyme. Next, alpha adrenergic receptor. The drugs are parajosin, terazosin and doxazosin. Alpha adrenergic receptor blocker are another drug treatment option for benign prostatic hyperplasia. This agent selectively block alpha receptor on prostatic tissue, which increase in hyperplastic in prostate tissue. Although alpha adrenergic blockers are commonly used for treatment of hypertension, this drug promotes smooth muscle relaxation in the prostate and facilitating urine flow through the urethra. Drug, electrogenic drug. The drug or tadalafil has been used in men who have symptoms of benign prostatic hyperplasia alone in combination with erectile dysfunction. It is the medical and pharmacological management of benign prostatic hyperplasia. The last topic, surgical management. Now I discuss the surgical management. Minimal invasive therapy are becoming more common as an alternative to watchful waiting and invasive treatment. They generally do not require hospitalization or catheterization and are associated with few adverse events. Many minimally invasive therapy have outcome comparable to those of invasive techniques. First, minimal invasive therapy is transurethral microwave thermotherapy. It is use of microwave radiating heat to produce coagulative necrosis of the prostate. Next, transurethral needle ablation. In this therapy, low wave radio frequency used to heat the prostate causes necrosis. Okay. Next, laser prostatectomy. In this procedure, use a laser beam to cut on destroyed part of prostate. Different techniques are available. Visual laser ablation of prostate, contact laser, photovaporization of prostate, and interstitial laser coagulation. Transurethral electrovaporization of prostate. Electrosurgical vaporization and dissection are used together to destroy the prostate. Okay. Next, intraprostatic urethral stents. Insertion of self-dependable metallic stents into the urethra, where enlarged area of the prostate occur. So, these are the minimal invasive therapy. Now moves on invasive therapy. Under invasive therapy, invasive treatment of symptomatic BPH involves surgery. The choice of treatment approach depends on the size and location of prostate enlargement, patient factor such as age and surgical risks. So, the invasive treatments are at first transurethral resection of prostate, TURP. In this procedure, use of excision or catheterization to remove the prostate tissue. Cystoscopically remain. It is the standard treatment for BPH. Okay. Next, transurethral incision of prostate, TUIP. In this procedure involve transurethral incision into the prostate tissue to relieve obstruction. It is effective for men with small to moderate prostate. Next, most important, open prostatectomy. It is the surgery of choice for men with large prostate, bladder damage or other complicating factor. Involve external incision with two possible approach. This is the surgical management of BPH in shortly. There is end of this lecture.